President's Special Advisor on Information and Strategy Bayon Anuga. Adeniyi will now remain in office till August 2026. The statement also establishes the President's confidence in the decision to help strengthening Nigeria Customs Service in achieving its strategic mandates. The chairman of the National Association of Nurses and Midwives, Moraki Oladipupo, has insisted that the union will not suspend its ongoing strike until key aspects of their demands are addressed.
Insincerity, insensitivity on the part of government, I think some part of these demands have to be met before we can suspend the strike. We have to see serious commitment on the part of government.
The chairman went on to list out their demands, which includes allowances and employment of more nurses into the system to avoid more nurses leaving the country.
Review of these allowances, which includes shift allowance, specialty allowance, uniform allowance. Uniform allowance is there. And we want government to employ more nurses. Government have been talking about Japa syndrome, people migrating to where nurses work are appreciated. But those of us that remain in the country that want to serve our country, we are under pressure.
Despite holding a meeting with the Minister of Labour on Tuesday, as the expiration of its 15-day ultimatum issued on 14th July 2025, the union carried on with their industrial action that substance abuse demonstrations. The Minister of Education, Dr. Tunja Lausa, has barred the introduction of compulsory and random drug integrity tests for students in tertiary institutions across the country. The decision followed a meeting in Abuja yesterday with the chairman and chief executive of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Brigadier General Boba Mawa, retired. In a statement by the agency spokesman, Femi Babafemi, the minister also approved a review of the current secondary school curriculum to incorporate updated drug education and committed to forming an inter-ministerial working group with the NDLA. The Kwara State High Court in Ilorin has sentenced Abdurrahman Bello to death by hanging for killing Asfor Lawa, a final year student of the College of Education in Ilorin. Justice Hannah Ajayi described the killing of Asfor as cruel, wicked, and an extreme display of human wickedness. She emphasized that all evidence proved that Asfor was killed in order to be used for money ritual and trading in human spare parts. The judge noted that his confession of love and plan to marry her are all pretend lies to lure her to his residence in order to kill her. A former lawmaker and former Kogi governorship aspirant, Senator Dino Melaye, has withdrawn his membership of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, citing the party's inability to rescue Nigeria from what he described as prevailing political carcass. Melaye made this known today on his X handle, where he shared a signed resignation letter addressed to the PDP chairman in Ward 1, Ayetoro Gbede Jijumo local government area of Kogi State. His resignation joins the growing list of his political heavyweights who have left People's Democratic Party, which adds to the growing wave of political realignment ahead of the 2027 general elections. A founding member of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Prof. Jerry Ghana, has claimed that former Anambra State Governor Peter Obi will defeat any contender in Nigeria's northern states if he contested on the PDP platform. In an interview, Ghana claimed that him being a precursor of opinions has helped him understood that Peter Obi will defeat any candidate in the northern states because they are fair-minded. Ghana suggested that people have forgotten PDP successfully terminated military rule in Nigeria through democracy by winning most of the local government, House of Representatives, the Senate, and the presidency. Meanwhile, fresh cracks have erupted within the Labour Party after Labour Party faction and National Publicity Secretary Abayomi Arabambi petitioned security agencies that Peter Obi and Nigeria Labour Congress President Joe Ajaero, high-ranking members of another faction, were planning to stage a coup through a nationwide million-man march. However, a counter response was issued by Labour Party Interim National Chairman Nana-D Usman, stating that they have neither authorized nor sanctioned any individual or group to march on the streets, and the leadership of Labour Party is not aware of any planned protests anywhere in Nigeria under the auspices of the party. The allegation was described as malicious and desperate frame-up aimed at blackmailing and destabilizing the opposition. A leadership crisis brewing in the opposition coalition-backed African Democratic Congress (ADC), as former governorship candidate in Gobe, Nafiu Bala, declared himself as the interim national chairman of the party today. He made a declaration while addressing a press conference in Abuja, where it accused some individuals he described as political hooligans of engineering a leadership crisis in ADC. Bala also accused the former party leaders of abandoning their constitutional responsibilities while handed over the party's structure to powerful outsiders with no ties to the party. You recall, David Mark was declared ADC interim national chairman after the opposition coalition adopted the party as its platform. The former chairman, Bandits Prosecution Committee, Abdullahi Shinkafi, has alleged that more than 80% of the armed bandits in Zamfara state are indigenous members of the state who were born and brought up in Zamfara.
Most of these criminals are indigenous. Like there are more than 80%, or I can say 90% in Zamfara. The armed bandits are indigenous. They were born and brought up in Zamfara state.
According to him, the trafficking of guns and arms into Nigeria is easy because the borders are unprotected. Only 160 roads have been legal out of 1,600 borders.
Very easier for easy trafficking of drugs and small and lighter arms into the Nigerian border. Our borders are very porous. More than the 1,600 borders are unofficial routes, illegal routes. Only about 160 are legal routes.
You're listening to News Express on Adamimogo 107.7 FM, transmitting live from Olojudo's Palace, Ido-Ekiti. And after the break, Ekiti State Government assaults Traditional Council appoints Ogoga of Ikere as new chairman. Details of this and more when we return.
This is an Adamimogo 107.7 FM, Ido-Ekiti, the voice of the light.
It is another refreshing time and the outpouring power of God as Christ Apostolic Church, Grace of Mercy Prayer Mountain, Adamimogo, Jesus City, presents Sure Mercy of David, a yearly fasting and prayer program where God is set to heal the sick, deliver the poor, set the captives free, and save the lost. Sure Mercy of David comes up in the month of August, every Friday to Sunday, each week in the month of August 2025, as God will be using his anointed servant, Prophet Sam Olualo Baba Adamimogo, and many other great anointed men of God. Many spiritual singers will be ministering in song as well. Venue CAC, Grace of Mercy Prayer Mountain, Adamimogo, Jesus City, Elamija Village, Lekki Epe Expressway, Lagos State. For one-on-one counseling with Prophet Sam Olualo, register at JesusCityRadio.com. Sure Mercy of David. Don't miss it.
I'm glad to know you're still there. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel via Adamimogo 107.7 FM for happenings around your news inquiries. Please call our newsroom on this number 0915-786-8095. And now to the rest of the bulletin. The Ekiti State Government has dissolved the State Council of Traditional Rulers, chaired by the Olojudo of Ido-Ekiti, His Royal Majesty Oba Ayorinde Ilorin Faboro. The dissolution was contained in a statement signed by the Deputy Governor, Chief Mrs. Munisa Diafuye, and made available to newsmen today. The government's action was sequel to the expiration of the council, whose 2 years tenure expires on 31st July 2025, having been composed by Governor Biodo Yebanji on 31st July 2023. However, the Ekiti State government has appointed the Ogoga of Ikere Ekiti, His Royal Majesty Oba Samuel Adejimi Adu Alagbado Agirilala II, as the new chairman of the council. Ahead of the 2026 governorship election, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has issued a stern warnings to all political parties in Ekiti State against mobilizing underage individuals for the upcoming continuous voter registration. INEC gave the warning during a stakeholders meeting held in Ado Ekiti, where it announced that the online phase of the CVR would begin on August 18, 2025, while in-person registration will commence on August 25, 2025 as well. The Resident Electoral Commissioner, REC for Ekiti State, Bumi Omosendemi, said the commission is committed to transparency and fairness and would collaborate with security agencies to ensure a peaceful and credible exercise. Meanwhile, the Federal Court of Appeal sitting in Akure, Ondo State capital, has affirmed the election of Governor Lokia Yedatiwa, the All Progressives Congress candidates in the November 16, 2024 governorship election in the states. Ayedatiwa, who contested under APC, was declared a winner by INEC after securing 366,781 votes and winning across all 18 local government areas. It defeated his closest rival, Agbola Ajayi of the People's Democratic Party. The appellate court's decision follows earlier legal victories for Ayedatiwa. You recall, on March 11, 2025, the Supreme Court had dismissed a separate appeal filed by Ajayi challenging Ayedatiwa's candidacy. The tribunal, chaired by Justice Benson Ogubu, also struck out similar petitions from the Social Democratic Party SDP, African Democratic Congress ADC, Allied People's Movement APM, and African Alliance AA, affirming Ayedatiwa's mandates. And out on business news, federal government eyes 796 billion naira annually from 5% petrol surcharge. Let's join Victoria Banwo for this and more.
Good evening and welcome to Business News. An analysis has revealed that the federal government may rake in 796 billion naira annually from the introduction of a 5% surcharge on locally produced and imported petrol, based on its new tax policy slated to take effect from January 1st, 2026. However, consumers have opposed the move, stressing that the federal government had earlier removed fuel subsidies and now plots to impose a 5% surcharge on fuel without considering the harsh economic realities nationwide. The addition forms part of the federal government's effort to shore up non-oil revenues and promote fiscal sustainability amid mounting public debt and subsidy-related costs. Still on business news, according to the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS), manufactured goods mainly imported were motorcycles and cycle-fitted with auxiliary motors imported from India, valued at 146 billion naira. This development is coming despite the several manufacturing plants in the country, as well as ban on the use of motorcycles in several states across the country, following security and safety concerns. Part of the report says the amount spent on importing used vehicles, motorcycles, and cycles stood at 7.8 trillion naira in the first quarter of 2025. And that's all on business news. I am Victoria Banwo.
Alright, foreign scene, Zelensky urges allies to push for regime change in Russia. Timilenya Adeleye has details.
Hello and welcome to the foreign scene. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said today that the world should push for regime change in Russia, arguing that President Vladimir Putin otherwise would continue to destabilize Russia's neighbors. His remarks came at a conference hosted by Finland, marking 50 years since the signing of the Helsinki Final Act, a document meant to improve relations between Cold War adversaries, where he said he believed Russia can stop the war since they started it, and that if the world does not push for a change in the Russia regime, they will still try to destabilize neighboring contras. Also in South Korea, a court today has issued a fresh arrest warrant for former President Yoon Suk-yeol, enabling prosecutors to forcibly bring him in for questioning after he refused to appear at his summons multiple times. The special counsel investigating Yoo and his wife, former First Lady Kim Kyun-hee, said in a statement that an arrest warrant has been issued today for former President Yoon Suk-yeol. And that's all on the foreign news today. My name is Oluwatimilei Adele.
All right, on Showbiz World, Backbones accuses stream fan of damage to music industry. Adetinuyo Adebayo is our guide.
Good evening and welcome to Entertainment News. Rapper Eme Abaga has opened up about his path to marriage, sharing the introspective struggles he faced as his friends and peers settled down earlier in life. During an interview on the podcast, he discussed feeling a twinge of regret around the age of 37 as he compared his life to that of his friends who had married in their mid to late 20s and were now raising teenagers. He said his outlook changed dramatically when he met his wife just before turning 40, shortly after ending the previous relationship. Still in the showbiz world, rapper Blackbones has expressed deep concern over the damage streaming farm has done to the Nigerian music industry. He claimed that the damage artists who engage in stream farming have done to the music industry is irreversible. He stated this while adding his voice to Singer Magic's recent criticism of artists who inflate the number of plays their song or album receives on a streaming platform using both or automated system. And that's all on Entertainment News. I am Adetinuyo Adebayo.
Club interested in Nigerian left back Zaidu Sanusi Mayowa Olasui is standing by.
Good evening and welcome to Sports Updates. Spanish club Real Oviedo have opened talks with Porto for Super Eagles defender Zaidu Sanusi, who is expected to leave Porto this summer after falling down the pecking order at the club. The 28-year-old, who spent majority of last season on the sidelines due to a long-term injury, has 2 years remaining on his contract, and the Portuguese club are not willing to terminate his contract. Moving to Europe, Arsenal Football Club are already in contact with Eberechi Eze agents after speaking to the player and his camp on different occasions. The Gunners, however, are yet to speak directly with Crystal Palace over a deal for Eze. Meanwhile, in another development, Manchester United's Alejandro Garnacho has set his sights on joining Chelsea this summer transfer window. However, Garnacho's desire to join Chelsea is not dependent on the blue striker Nicholas Jackson moving to Manchester United. And that's all on Sport News today. My name is Mayowa Olashui.
That in an aim to consolidate ongoing reforms and complete key initiatives of this administration, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had approved a one-year extension of tenure of the Controller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, Bashar Adewale Adeniyi, whose tenure was initially set to expire on August 31, 2025. Remember, the chairman of the National Association of Nurses and Midwives, Morakinyo Olajide, has insisted that the union will not suspend its ongoing strike until key aspects of their demands are addressed. And lastly, the informed you that the Ekiti state government has dissolved the State Council of Traditional Rulers, chaired by the Olojudo of Ido Ekiti, His Royal Majesty Oba Ilorin Faboro, following his expiration. I beg your pardon. And now to end News Express at 6, you can join us. And that's the News Express from Adamimogo 107.7 FM, Olojudo's Palace, Ido Ekiti. On behalf of the production crew, my name is Kingsley